Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Tuesday. It's April 22nd. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and you can see we had a nice bullish day today. And what happened was we had a gap in the chart yesterday, and we filled that gap. We surpassed it a little bit, and then we sold off from there. So was that there? Was that the reason for this rally? Was that to fill the gap, or are we going to trade higher from here? It's hard to say. We did at least relieve a lot of the oversold pressure. We're back. We're still, I'd say this market's still oversold, but nothing like it was. We're not way outside the brown line anymore, meaning severely oversold. If you go back and look at yearly charts, you don't see prices get outside these brown lines on either side very much like this. This is an anomaly, a big anomaly. So just understand that, and that's why we've had all the volatility and so forth. But nice bullish day. Maybe we were only filling the gap. I do not, it's too early to know for sure. We'll see if we get some follow through buying tomorrow. Um, I'd like to see a measured leg up at a minimum, like this first leg from here up. That would be a nice recovery to take some of this back and kind of get some of this sell off back. Whether or not that's going to happen, we'll have to see. But anyway, it is what it is. We had a nice rally day today. So let's flip over to the 2000 tick chart and take a look at that, and we'll go through the trades. And here we are. You can see our 2000 tick chart. This morning I was kind of guessing at where there might have been a bigger channel. And I guess I just should have followed the rules and drawn it off the first two swings and been patient, and eventually it comes back to it. We just had a strong market early this morning, and I was looking at a possibility that there was another spike in channel here, but it didn't pan out. If you and you may if you saw the mid-morning chart, you would see that, and you saw my explanation that it's just something I'm looking at. We need to confirm it, but we never did. And come to find out, if I'd have just followed my own rules and used the first two swings after this spike up, I'd have got the main channel. But you can see that we had a steeper channel in here with a break and a new high, and then we had a break of this uh, blue channel, and then moved to a new high. We actually had another channel, short-term channel, working up with a break and new high of it as well. And then we just kind of work sideways here. Here's your old traditional head and shoulders looking pattern that they teach you to trade, and for once it did work out. Prices went lower off of head and shoulders, but it'll do that just enough to keep you trying to um, believe that pattern has something to it, but it doesn't. Um, that's the first time I've noticed that pattern in a long time, honestly, but I don't really look for those patterns, but it's pretty obvious there. You got what they call a head and shoulders, and we sold off from that, found a bottom, and then trended back up and almost closed on the highs. But note, here's the close from yesterday right here, and notice where we got to. We pretty much found resistance there. I always tell you, remember these previous closes and previous opens and today's open and today's close. Those areas become important areas. The prices will come back and gravitate around those areas. Notice how the open in here, it became resistance for a little while before we pushed through it. And then this was, if you draw your line across there, let's just put a line right there. And you can see that became resistance pretty much. We broke through it temporarily a couple of times, but it would not hold, and prices sold off. And then we came back and did the same thing right here this afternoon. And notice again, we pierced it, but could not close above it. So that close from yesterday is an important price level, and it's acting as resistance right now. And for us to go higher, we're going to have to get through that. So that's what we'll have to see if it pans out or not for tomorrow's trading. But as of now, we have not been able to pierce that level consistently or hold that level, but we did fill that gap. And so the very next day, actually. But let's zoom in here. We had these original two legs up, and then we had two legs down, and the trend, it really was a spike in channel, and this was just an overshoot up here. It was in the overnight hours, but this was the highs of the channel, in my opinion, right across here. And this trend line, we had this cyan trend channel for a while, then we came back to this original trend line. uh, later in the morning, and then had our break up here late morning, going into lunch, and then pushed higher with a new channel. So that's how I saw it. But let's go through the trades here. Notice that we were kind of chopping sideways, and we had a little two-leg move down, and so that's a second entry long right there. But I don't think you want to take that. I think you need to wait on a higher low. It does somewhat confirm that trend line, but I think you wait on a higher low there and you get one, and that's where I would go long. And it takes up, shoots up, and then we start working sideways again. Now you get a triple test here, but you didn't really get a signal bar till here, and so I like going long there. You got plenty of room back to the highs, and it actually keeps going. Takes on off and then turns down off the upper side of the trend channel. And notice you get a first entry and then a second entry, but the signal bar is no good. Then you get a higher low, and dadgummit, that signal bar is no good either. And I hate when we get days like that where you get good setups, but you don't get the signal bar, and you know it looks congested. So don't break these rules. And you notice how it broke higher and then turned back. It ends up going on. That trend line held, but sometimes it doesn't, and you just can't risk it. You only want to take sure things, and those are not sure things. Yeah, they're tempting. Yeah, their prices took off, and so you can't look at it. One thing that'll get you is looking back and saying, I knew I should have entered there. Well, there's not an entry there, so no, you shouldn't have entered there. Even though it took off, don't let that bother you, because that'll happen a lot. But trust me, the one time you decide to skirt the rules and take it, that'll be the time it fails, and then you'll learn your lesson the hard way. So just trust me when I tell you, don't look back and second guess yourself. If a trade set up and it wasn't a good trade and you didn't take it, you did the right thing, even if it went for a million points. I mean, if it shot straight up, it would have made you a multi-millionaire. If you didn't take it, you did the right thing, because you would have been gambling if you took that entry. And gamblers don't last in this business. For whatever reason, anytime you gamble, it'll be the time it doesn't work. It won't be the time it does work. It's just the way trading is. So I saw something today that I thought was really interesting, and I thought about it a minute, and it's probably true for a lot of new traders, because new traders do not understand price movements, and prices don't move the way they think they do, and they don't move using common sense. And this guy's suggestion was, anytime you see a trade that you want to take, figure out where you would put your safety stop, and then put your buy order where you would have put your safety stop. And he said, and watch what'll happen. 99 times out of 10, it'll come back to where you wanted to put your safety stop, and you'll get a good entry there, and then it'll take off. Now, don't go trying that. I mean, if you do, make sure you're on the simulator. But I just thought it was interesting, because what that does is it takes your common sense out of trading, and it has you doing the opposite of it. And it probably might be semi-successful for people that don't understand price movements. Once you understand price movements, you take all the gambling out for the most part. You reduce your gambling percentage till you put the odds in your favor. If you understand price movements and you can read this chart, you'll put the odds on your side of getting 4 ticks 9 times out of 10. And that's just the truth. And people don't believe that until they see it done, or they do it themselves. And a lot of people end up doing it themselves. But it takes a while. I'm not saying it's easy, but once you understand it, it gets a whole lot easier. So anyway, we had that entry there, runs back to the top, corrects back. We had those two, second entry and higher low, nothing there. Now, I marked this green. I kind of like this trade in real time. We got this sideways, and it broke out the top, failed. Which way is the trend? When you get sideways stuff with a trend like this, you normally want to enter with a trend, not counter trend. So don't go short there. Wait, and then you get the failure out the bottom, and then go long. So you're just basically trading a failed breakout. And if this would have closed right into the resistance, I'd probably say don't take it, but it closes all the way through and gives you a good signal bar. And there's plenty of room. There's enough room to scalp out there. So I like taking that trade. I marked it green because it's a little more advanced, a little more aggressive. But if you understand it, you could take that trade. You're just trading range rules there. But then we also got the break in new high, and then we're working down, and you get a second entry here, but signal bar is no good. Doesn't go very far. Comes back first entry, and then a second entry, and it confirms these first couple of swings here. And so you get a second entry with a nice signal bar right off a key entry point. It takes a second, but it takes off. You probably could get a runner on this one. And off it goes. It comes back again, but it only gives you a first entry here. I don't think you want to enter that. Um, takes on off, and it's just working hard. There's no more entries here. And then finally you get a break, and you actually get a first entry, second entry, but no setup there. And that's your first break of this channel. And then you get two legs down to a new low, and that's a new high right there. So that's a first entry, second entry. So I like going long on that second entry right there. Because you've got your break and two legs to a new low. And then if you want to be real conservative, you wait on the higher low, and you get one of those two, just one of those days, and look at it go. And on that higher low, it really takes off. And there's actually a reversal pattern here. It's not necessarily where you're looking for one. And you see how it doesn't really take off right away. It takes a little bit. Really, this is a double bottom, and this is where your reversal would have happened. And you can see it really does take off right there. But I don't think you want to enter. It's not where you're looking for a reversal. So even though it turns into one, it's just a two-legged correction. So you're probably going to get another trend going here. And that's what happens. We end up getting another trend going. And notice we get a second entry here. Notice the new high, first entry, second entry, but there's no signal bar. But you do get a higher low, and then you get another higher low from there, and that's actually two legs back. So I think you can take either one of those. And you're just expecting prices to come back to here. They might keep going, but you're just looking for them to come back to here and maybe make a new high. So don't get greedy on this one. Just try to get what you can out of it back to the new high, and that's the way I'd play that one. It does end up going much higher, but I don't see any setups there. And then we're working back down. Don't try to pick a short. There's nothing up here really anyway. I wouldn't try to pick a short up here. You need a lower high for sure, and you don't get anything there. Then you're back in the range again. Now this is a failed breakout. And you might even look at this as a triple test, because there is a triple test right across here. Now I didn't mark this one because we're in this downtrend, but you've also got the range, and that is a pretty good signal bar, so you might take that trade. Again, I think you're better off to wait on the higher low, but you might take that trade. And you do get the higher low here, but again, it's the first close outside that channel, and that looks a little congested, so I didn't like that one either. It ends up working, but you could argue for it maybe, but I just didn't like it in real time. And you notice how it struggles to take off here, but it does end up, you would have scalped out before it came back and stopped you out. So, but I just don't think it's a great setup. And you definitely can't enter this one right into the highs. And you had a failed breakout here, but no signal bar set up, no lower high, and the bottom just falls out of this thing. You do get a break here. Now notice there's a hidden second entry. You move up. Actually, there's a lower high there, so I guess you could say there's easily two legs up there. But on the break to the low side, you don't technically get a second entry. But I think you can treat that as a hidden second entry, great signal bar, and just go short right there. Don't enter on the engulfing bar. Wait till it closes, and you could go short right there. Runs down, makes a new low, makes a double bottom. Maybe you could even argue there's a triple test there. If you did, you might take that trade back to the high side. You can see there's a triple test there. It's not perfect, but you're a good ways away from the EMA. That would have been a nice trade. I'd say it's aggressive, and sure enough, it turns back down again. And we get a break here. This and a new low. No higher low here though, and I don't think you want to take that. That bar's trying to pick a bottom, and that's a pretty good move down, and that bar is 41 ticks. Don't try to enter on that. You do get a second entry here, but I don't like the signal bar. And next thing you know, you bottom out and it reverses. And again, I don't see anything reason to try to pick a long down here. There's nothing there. There is a second entry long here, and we are looking for a retest of this high, but there's just not much room there. There's nothing but stem. I'd skip that. And I just don't see anything. There's a couple of, there's another second entry here, but again, it's congested, not a good setup. You're way away from the EMA. I just don't see anything there. Then you get your closeout side, two legs to a new high, and then you get a lower high right here, still way away from the EMA. I like going short there. I still think it's a little early. So I think that one's a little aggressive because that's a fairly strong move up. So you want to be sure, timing here can get you. Even if you're right, timing can get you. You might be, the problem is just being a little early or a little late. And you can't afford to do that. So you're better off to probably wait on this one. And then you get this triple test right here. And that's the one I like. And you can see it takes off there. So obviously the smarter traders like that one as well. And there's no more entries there. These are all first entries. And then you get a move down, and there's actually a second entry short there. I didn't mark it. It's an inside bar. It has no body. I think you're better off to skip that, especially right at 230. It would have worked, but just don't risk it. And that takes us into 230. So it was kind of a quiet afternoon. We had a decent morning, but it was really kind of a quiet afternoon. This is all mixed, and you think you're headed lower, and then you think you're headed higher, then you're lower again, then you're back higher again. It's just a tough day. There was no news today. There was some medium, some kind of manufacturing index. That doesn't amount to anything. So you don't worry about those medium ones. And there it is. For once, we closed higher, had a bullish day. We still had some mixed trading in there. Seemed like we get a lot of that regardless. So just be careful with that mixed trading and when it starts doing like that, because you could get chopped up in really quickly. So, but there it is. Not much else we can say about today. So I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.